started running some wires. I'm just pulling them through and hook them into corresponding places. I'll put a protective cover on them once I get the final length set up. And I'm just pulling them out to where they go with the speed controller, making sure they're grouped, leaving a little extra. And the plug, I'm numbered the corresponding spots on each connection, so it's a little easier to find without having to go back and forth to the diagram. And I'll keep going at this and get her done. Well, I'm back to work on the Rusty Golfer. I've had a couple weeks off because my back was killing me. But I finally got the speed controller configured. I had to use an app on the phone, configure the speed controller. I've got the necessary wires pinned out right now. Still got a couple other things to do, like the reverse beeper and a couple of switches, but for the most part it should work. So turn the key on, put it in forwards, and then that's a good sign. Solenoid kicked on. Woo! Got movement. Let's see if it goes backwards. Goes backwards too. Turn that off. All right, so temporarily working. We'll get this wiring cleaned up into a protective cover, and then we'll take it out and see what it can do. That's sick. So I had a successful test drive with the golf cart. It runs, and it runs fast. And what that also brings up some more problems that I didn't notice while putting it together. And one of them is there's some play in the steering, and at the speeds this thing goes, it becomes a real problem as you're driving. So there's enough play in the idler arm to cause a problem while driving at high speed. And I don't know if we can see it wobble there, but it moves just enough to make it real scary while going fast. So we've got a new bushing on order, should be here in a couple of days, and then we'll replace that. So I had to order some parts, and we need to replace a brass bushing in the idler arm here, and here's what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart and get this replaced. I'm not sure whether I'm going to have to press it out or not, or if it's just going to drop out. We'll find out. Alright, got the steering gear out, and I set it up in such a way that it's a little easier to see. If we take the washer off, we can see that big bushing right there. So that's what we need to knock out and replace. And like I said, I don't know if that's going to come out easy or not. Probably we're going to have to roll the press out and press it out with the hydraulic press. Now, let me get that last tie rod off, and then we'll get the press out, I guess. Okay, the last rod end is loose, and should be able to pull that idler arm out. There it goes. Well, that's it. Let's see what's going on here. Hope this isn't different. Looks different. Yeah, that don't fit so well. There it goes. Could be a slightly tapered bit. All right. I'm going to have to clean that up and see how that comes apart. Alright, so I set up a situation to press where I can push that bearing out, bushing out. And I've got a metric socket here that fits that bushing rather nicely. And then these plates here will hold the steering arm from going through, and there's a hole in there that the bushing can pass through. And we'll give this a few pumps and see if we can knock that bearing out. I did try putting some heat on it and giving it a few taps with a hammer, but it wasn't going to come out. So we'll see if we can get this thing out of there. It's moving. Okay. There we go. There's the old bushing and the socket I used, and the new one. We'll set it up and I'll press the new one back in. Okay, I've got the bushing in place. It's lined up. The hole in the bushing is lined up with the grease fitting. And we're just going to press this guy in. Didn't want to go in at first, but once it got started, it's going fairly easy. That's it, it's home. Okay, new bushing pushed in, lined up perfectly with the grease fitting, and so now what we got to do is put some grease in it, put the arm back in, reassemble it back in the cart. I've got the bearing surface on the steering arm cleaned up, or idler arm, should call it, and it fits in there nicely. I would have thought it fit a little tighter, but it's better than the old one. So we're going to put some grease on it and slide it in there and put everything back together. I got the hole lined up for the cotter pin. Alright, hopefully that solves our steering play issue. And I'll get this set back in the cart and bolt back together. Alright, I've got the steering gear hung in there by one bolt. I'll put the rest in, bolt the tie rods up, and we should be back in business. Alright. That's it for the front end. Put a little more grease in the idler arm and put the steering wheel back on. So I did a quick test run already, and I hit about 35 miles an hour. And the steering is better, but it's still a little sloppy. Of course, I mean, it's an old machine, not designed to go that fast. If you hit the bumps, it starts to get wobbly, but we'll go for a quick ride. Back. Turn the regen up a little bit so it stops a little quicker. It is a beast. That's enough terrorizing the neighbors for one day. Test ride went okay. Still a bit wobbly, but what can you do for a 25-year-old machine? Things are just not going to be as tight as they should be. For that kind of speed, it was never designed to go that fast. But anyway, got a lot of the wiring done. Started wrapping up the wiring with harness tape. I ran out, so I have to get more. This wiring is complete. I still need to add 12-volt system up to the front, up here for the headlights, and this wire here is for the voltmeter. I need a line directly off the battery, or probably come off this side of the solenoid. So when the solenoid activates, I get power up here. Tells me what the battery is. Well, I have new floor pans coming. The old ones are rusted away with big holes in them. I thought I could fix them, but it just wasn't worth my time and money in sheet metal to fix them. So got those coming, and hopefully we'll get some more done real quick here.